Before we begin, thank you very much to I don't care what anyone says, Adamas Prime has a cool alt mode and I will not be convinced otherwise. For joining the Patreon campaign, thank you very, very much for your contribution and for helping to keep the channel going and the daily content coming. You also pitched in at the $15 level, so please let me know what video you would like to request of me for that contribution. I have a feeling it might be Adamas Prime based, but that is entirely up to you. Always appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, and I need to update the credits. I don't know how I'm going to put that name in the credit list. Maybe shorten it. Maybe shorten it here before I get around to updating the credit list at the end of the video. All right, all that said, kind of appropriate that Adamas Prime comes up because we have to talk another orange and red character today. Takara, after numerous showings at various conventions and all kinds of teases and hypes, we finally have full visuals, full reveal for the brand new Adamas Machina Predaking. Everyone's been excited for this. Everyone's looking forward to it because it's such a mental thing, right? You do Adamas Machina Rodimus, and it's the Flame Toys Hot Rod, Rodimus, whatever, based off of his look in IDW 1.0, a design everyone's wanted an official release for, and that toy is absolute insanity. It's a fantastic figure. And then the second one out of the gate is a combiner of all things. So yeah, this was pretty amazing to just get randomly dropped out of nowhere. Oh, hey, by the way, Predaking's coming too. Now we have full visuals. It's not just renders anymore. It's not just artwork. It's not just a gray proto. We get to see this thing in full glorious color and molded plastic. And oh my God. Oh my God, this thing is incredible. I mean, look. Gaze upon it. So we're going to go through everything. We're going to take a look at everything individually, and then there's some warning signs. There's a few things to actually keep in mind about this thing that we are going to have to cover. So keep that in mind. It's not just like me going, ooh, look at the pretty. No, I'm making this video to also give you a little bit of a heads up, because there's a few things to keep in mind before you dump the price that we will get into later. For now, let's enjoy the pretty imagery because the images are super pretty. I really like the fact that they pulled the G1 figure out of mothballs just to give a comparison shot of the original. Yes, it's incredibly impressive how far we have come when it comes to toy engineering in 40 years. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It's fascinating to me that, yes, it is essentially the same height as the original. Obviously not nearly as bulky, but the same relative height, you know? Man, we fixed a lot since then, haven't we? His wings actually look meaningful. They're not just there for show. Like, he might actually be able to use those on his new form. Yeah, just the level of detail that gets accomplished, the fact that all that is done in paint now instead of sticker. I really like comparing what we can do now to what we had 40 years ago and showing just how far we've come. The progression of the franchise, I think, is understated, just how incredibly advanced the engineering has gotten. It's really, really impressive. I don't know why they included this body horror shot of all of his limbs coming apart. I assume it's to show like a photo of him like mid combination. All right, that's as close as they could come. But it does give us a little bit of insight to how it works. Like, for instance, the hands, despite what the animation they put out showed, are not built in. They are separate accessories. You'll see them here in a bit when we get to the individual bots. But it does give us a little bit of insight about how the transformation works, at least. Okay, individual bots. We start with Tantrum, who does look pretty good. The proportions are pretty good for a bull. A lot of like bulk on the underside of him. I really wish they showed us a picture of him without the feet cannons on the side so we could get like a really good look at how his proportions turned out, especially in the rear. But not bad. Not bad at all. He does have a transformation trick I like. It's hard to see with the cannons in the way. So the upper part of his bull arms here, that dark red that's at the top of his shoulder, that's the forearm in the robot mode. So these will completely flip and invert in order to transform. It's way better than just like hiding, like just, it's way better than just having like his lower legs in beast mode become the arms. And it's way better than like flopping that. It's a very simple trick. It's a very simple trick, but it's an effective one. Okay, Hardhead looking pretty good here. Not Hardhead. Oh, they know. Not Ramhorn either. Headstrong. That's the name I was trying to pull. Headstrong feels like he's a little bit more toward the more traditional side as far as the transformation goes. His forearms are the lower legs of the Rhino mode. His rear legs are just things that fold down from the side of his robot mode after they fold up to be the rear. So pretty typical stuff. What I do like is that they've tried to put like a more normal Rhino shape to him. Like he's much more round in the back. Like, you know, like he has the right curvature. Let's put it that way. He has the right curvature for his beast mode. The one I had growing up was Rampage. Always liked this one. It's always hard to remember that it's supposed to be a tiger. He looks pretty good. He does do the beast legs become like, you know, like the beast mode legs fold up behind his actual forearms. It's a little bit disappointing. I actually really like how the original toy worked, where his beast legs ended up as like shoulder details. It was a really good figure. Like I thought it was like the best of the 5. You know, like if I'm breaking down Predaking and judging them individually. Still looks pretty good. He's bulky because he's got to form an arm, but for the most part, not a bad beast mode. We have Razor Claw here. You can see just how many of the accessory weapons are stacked onto him. The shoulder cannons now become side weapons. The fists from beast mode, fists from combined mode become things on his backside. He does look a little off. The beast mode does look a little bit off, but he's the torso. Something was bound to look off about him. He's got to do the most lifting after all. This isn't like the current combiners where they're okay with big chunks of toy kept to the side and you just use them for transformation. You just use them for combination. Not going on here. It's all the connection points are traditional. Dive Bomb looking pretty good here. A lot more wing than most dive bombs tend to be. They usually minimize that so the robot mode isn't horribly imbalanced. Not a care in the world this time. It's just a big old bird here. Now again, the individual robots. I like how they inverted the wings for the robot mode on this one. They're absurdly huge. They're absurdly huge for how small that bot is, but I appreciate the effort. He will never go through a doorway, but he looks cool. Headstrong does look pretty good in the robot mode. I like how that his inner head is distinct from the beast head, despite being the same color. That works for me. You can see a bunch of kibble behind the legs. You know, so that's stuff that forms the back of the beast mode. So there's gonna be a little bit of kibble on these guys. There's just no avoiding that on some combiners. Now, Rampage looks pretty good in his robot mode. I still think he looks like one of the best. Like, the proportions work for him. I'm not sure what the belly piece is about. Actually, I kind of do. If we look back at, yeah, we're not going to point it out yet. We got to get back to Predaking. But notice that yellow block in the chest on Dive Bomb? Same shape. This is for combined mode, so they have matching details across both arms. So that's why that's a thing. Looks a little bit weird on him here, though, but otherwise he looks pretty good. Oh my god. Tantrum is only making one trip from the car to the house to get the groceries in, and you are not convincing him otherwise. He is carrying a lot of baggage, literally. This is why the feet, you need to do something different with the feet. Anytime you just go, oh, they're two giant cannons, it never looks right. It always looks stupid. It always looks stupid. He does have the same kibble behind his feet too, by the way. Proportionally, he looks the most off. His body looks way too big for like how long or thick his legs are. But don't know exactly if that is gonna play a part. You know, how like you'll excuse me. The lights flickered enough to turn everything off, as you probably saw, except the recording's still going. So we're gonna keep going. We're just gonna power through it. There's Razor Claw. Now Razor Claw is the one with weird proportions. The arms look way too scrawny and way too small. Hips and pelvis section are huge because they have to be the pelvis of Predaking. This is where I don't really mind the way they are doing things. Hang on, let me get my lights back on. Whoa. It blinked these lights, but it didn't blink the computer off, which is funny to me because this is powered by the computer. Okay. Sorry about that. Point being, yeah, I'm not quite happy with how Razor Claw looks here. This is the thing that kind of makes me go, yeah, like Hasbro's kind of got the right idea with the framework. The framework actually makes a lot of this make sense a lot more. And it avoids situations like this. But as a figure itself, he doesn't look too bad. He just looks oddly shaped. He's definitely sacrificing for the sake of the combination. I mean, yeah, the team's gonna look good no matter what. I think it's so much hanging off of Dive Bomb. How do you fly with gigantic swords across your wings? And also, why didn't the swords just become like the top piece of the wing? Like that would have looked way cooler. Do we have the individual? Here is where things start getting a little bit weird. So, Predaking stands about a foot tall in robot mode when everything is combined. This particular design accomplishes that by making Razor Claw about 8 inches tall, so like above a leader class in height, while making all the other Predacons, you know, she's like 86 Bumblebee sized. Like they're about 4-inch figures. Like it's a really weird proportion. Like the thing with Predacons and what makes the original team kind of cool is it's the only team where everybody's the same size, you know, outside of like the Constructicons, you know. But like Scramble City wise, this is the only one. So to see them like this, where everything is just like so oddly proportional, like Razor Claws are gigantic compared to everybody. I'm not really down for this per se. Like this seems weird, but at the same time, with to use a completely traditional combination system, sacrifices will have to be made, especially if the goal is to make him into Predaking. Let's be honest, everyone who buys this is going to keep him in Predaking. No one is going to keep them in individual Predacons. He does look incredible. Like once you get them together, everything looks incredible. It's very much an Energon Optimus Prime situation where the main body's proportions suffer tremendously on their own, all for the sake of making the combined mode have correct proportions. And that's what's going on here as well. Now, they do confirm this is very much Call of the Primitives based. They wanted to hit that proportion. They wanted to hit that design style. And I think they've done it for the most part. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one recreation of that version of Predaking, but it's definitely pulling off a lot that design did, especially with the anime accurate shapes to him. You can see the accessories and the articulation are fantastic. He's got plenty of giant weapons at his disposal. He's got loads of articulation, deep angle bends for huge poses, lots of guns, lots of swords. Yeah, we see like an ab crunch. An ab crunch in a combiner is rare. Look at that pose. He can superhero land. Yeah, like I can levy the criticism against the individual bots and like having like odd proportions and like the fact that 4 of the 5 members are like smaller than deluxes. But at the same time, it's all in service of this ridiculous looking combiner being as functional as like a high-end figure on his own, because he is a high-end figure. What am I talking about? Yeah, there's your accessory loadout. I think including the hands and feet is unfair in that one. But also that does show that at the very least, the helmet for Predaking is built into Razor Claws. So unlike the original, there's that one piece that is not going to be a separate component to keep track of. Everything else, everyone gets their own guns. We got swords. We got everything. This looks like a ridiculous amount of accessory for an absolutely absurd toy. There's your official like group shot that they're putting out for all the retailers. Yeah, like it's just a really, really impressive job by Takara. It's an incredibly cool toy. I'm not going to take any of that away, but we do need to discuss it further. So there is a video out. There's a video out that shows you everything in pre-rendered and everything fully animated, which will also show you the combination sequence of the toys, which is cool to get, as well as the individual transformations. I will tell you, the individual transformations of the predacons are pretty simple. There's, like I said, there's a couple of neat tricks thrown in here or there, but for the most part, for the sake of combining, they are kept pretty simplistic. They're not going to be tremendous transforming challenges or anything. It's just what has to be done in order to just be correct for the designs. So keep that in mind. Also, yeah, we do have to discuss pricing here. Yeah, and just to show you, yes, fully rendered animation, fully rendered. We have to discuss price though. So the pre-orders went live today, and they are listed at 48,048 yen. I'm fascinated when you include like such a weird digit like 48 yen at the end. It's like going to a store and finding something that's listed for like $26.42. Why 42? I don't know. Answer to life and everything. Like I don't know why. I don't know why. It just is. Just pay it. But that translates currently with the current exchange rate, it translates to $325.77. Obviously, exchange rates can shift over the course of time because this will not actually release until the end of March. So you've got a lot of time to sit on it if you're undecided. I will warn you, most places with pre-orders will either not allow a cancellation without directly contacting the company, or they will charge you a down payment to make sure that you really do want this and that you're not going to back out, because these are expensive pieces. So they don't want to have a bunch of people canceling at the last minute. So before you buy, be careful, make sure you absolutely know you want it. Be sure you absolutely know that you're going to have the money for it. But that said, there's other factors to consider, and I hate that there's other factors to consider because we try to avoid this as much as we can on the channel. But so if you want to actually purchase this, you could do it through Hobby Link Japan, in which case they will be asking $416, far above the $325 that the actual price in yen translates to. And if you think going domestically is going to help you at all, Big Bad wants $450 for it, along with a $45 non-refundable down payment. Now, these prices both seem to account for the fact that there are tariffs involved. And we're not getting political in the comment section, but we do have to acknowledge it is absolutely hurting some parts of this hobby, this being one of them. This is an incredibly cool import, but it's also an incredibly expensive import. So yeah, getting a hold of it is going to suck. It's just how it is. I hate how it is. And maybe it's done. Maybe it blows over by the time March comes up. But just in case, expect to be paying a lot more than what you really should be paying, which sucks, but that's just the situation. But also, more importantly than that, there's one other thing to account for when it comes to this Predaking, and that is San Diego Comic-Con 2025's interview with Hasbro and their designers. I want to point out one very specific part of this interview, because they do mention they were brainstorming G1 Predaking and how to add the skeletal combiner system to it, and the idea of transforming that skeleton into another beast came up, which I think is a brilliant idea for solving that issue. Point being, it does look like Hasbro has a new Predaking in mind. And if we are going by the current state of the combiners, you know, we have a brand new Menasor out there. Superion is almost done. Devastator is almost done. We're getting started on the Predacons, which means really the only place they have to go after this is going to be the Protectobots, which would be like immediately following the Predacons, and Predaking. You could branch out. Yes, you could do Terracons and Technobots. I would love them to do that. I would love to have both of those in nice, updated, cartoon accurate forms. I would think that would be very lovely. However, Predaking is the much bigger seller. Predaking is the more popular one. That is far more likely to be the one where they go next after we move on from Defensor. So if they're brainstorming it now, remember, it's a 2-year development cycle. So I would bet we would get some indication that a brand new Predaking was coming out from Hasbro probably sometime maybe early 2027, maybe late 2026, depending on how things shake out. But if they're thinking about it now, they are absolutely thinking about doing that design. So if you want a new Predaking to replace your Combiner War 1, which I still think is okay for what it is. I don't think it's as bad as people like to give it grief. But if you can hold out, it does seem like Hasbro is working on an alternative to having a brand new Predaking on the shelf. And keep in mind, your current Predaking that would be, you know, your Power of the Primes is actually much bigger than any of the current combiners are, which is accurate to how Predaking is supposed to be. The one that's coming out from Adamas Machina, it's going to be roughly the same size if you keep it combined, and if you don't mind the fact that it's a lot of metallic paint and a lot more detail than any of your other combiners. So if you're going to dump this into Generations, it ain't going to fit. If you want one that's going to match the rest of your Generations and Modern collection, I'm pretty sure Hasbro's working on a solution for you. So just hang tight. We'll probably get that. So for the most patient among us, I'm letting you know, there's an alternative. There will be an alternative on the way. You do not have to buy this just to have a brand new Predaking on your shelf, just to replace the one that was previously released by Hasbro. Because even then, the one Hasbro did previously for Power of the Primes has aspects that this one is failing at, you know? It has, you know, things like the proportions on everybody matching, everyone being the same size, Razor Claw not being kind of a scrawny mess in robot mode, things like that. So before everyone gets super excited and dumps $400, I think there's a lot you need to think about. And yeah, just sit back. This one's going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the next 6 months or so. But those are all the thoughts. That's everything I've got here on the Predaking. It's gorgeous, but caution, my friends. So with that, I will let you do with your bank account what you want to do. But thank you very much for listening to me ramble and gush about how cool this looks and how expensive it's going to be. And as always, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.